our next episode of Unparalleled Leadership in Unusual Times. I'm very excited about this group today. I have already made inappropriate comments to them, so I won't repeat them. But let's just say that Kyle is the best looking on the panel. A couple of reminders. If you've got questions, put them in the chat. We will get to them at the end of the presentation. This session is being recorded, so Claire, don't say anything that you don't want out on the interwebs. And with that, we'll just get it started. We've got three panelists today. We've got Valerie Riley with LifeSquire and Level Handyman. We've got Kyle Young of European Wax Spa and Century Martial Arts, and Dima Ramadan of DBG Construction. So I've done that introduction, but Valerie, if you want to do a further introduction of yourself before you kick off, the floor is yours.
Okay, I'll unmute myself since you muted me. I have a couple of service-based businesses, LifeSquare. Most of you guys, I think I actually know all of you, so I won't go into a long explanation. I've got two service-based businesses, and so we are super focused on customer service always, but especially during a really hard time. And in the very beginning of all of this, I decided to create a motto that would extend to our business. And so our motto typically is be a blessing. And I know that sounds really trite, but we really try to have everything we do, from the team to our clients to the community, fall under this idea of being a blessing. And so in this kind of weird, hard time, we pivoted a little bit and added support and serve. And so every time we had an email communication or a social media post, especially during the last, I would say like 8 weeks or so, we really tried hard to come from a message of how can we support our clients and the community, and how can we serve them. And so that was really helpful so that we didn't get off track and we didn't get lost in the weeds. We just stayed super focused on our mission. And then also just who I am personally, and then this extends to the business. Our communication style is always vulnerable, authentic, and transparent, sometimes to a fault. But I just feel like if I am super transparent with my clients and my customers, usually I get that back in spades. I don't try to hide like what's going on or try to pretend to be something I'm not. I try to just be exactly who I am. And then I tend to get back from my clients and my customers and my team where they are, and we can react to that in a really honest way together. And so I'm going to share my slides with you. I was telling them earlier that I am not tech savvy, so I know there's a share screen, and I'm going to hit it and then hope that it's in the right spot. But before I do that, I wanted just to mention that all of the slides that we've created are super basic principles, nothing groundbreaking or revolutionary, but because I work with vendors all day long in our two businesses, we just find that common sense is not usually that common. And so we put together a list of 5 basic principles that we apply to our business model and that I think are really applicable to any business model. So let me try to share my screen and then we'll see what happens. I'm so nervous. Okay, can you guys see that? Okay, so I've been in a service-based business for 11 years, and I feel like nothing I've done is extraordinary in terms of the ideas behind it. It's really just old-fashioned customer service, and I think not only does this apply during a really hard time and difficult circumstance, but really all the time. So our first principle is always to return communication quickly. I think that it's super important to answer your emails and your calls within 24 hours. On our voicemail system, we even say that if you leave a message, we'll get back to you within 24 hours, setting an expectation that, hey, you know when to expect a return call from us. If we're unable to solve their issue quickly, we always respond that we've at least received their message. We're trying to always make people feel heard and appreciated. That's kind of number one in our business. And then we teach our team to do the same so that the experience for our clients are always consistent, whether they're interacting with me, the owner and founder, my management team, or kind of like our frontline workers. Everybody has the same expectation that we are going to return our communication to our clients very quickly and promptly, so they're not waiting around. We exercise a lot of humility. I always say we eat a lot of humble pie in our business. I find the easiest way to diffuse angry clients or kind of tumultuous situations is to apologize, even if I've not done anything wrong. And so the way that I do that practically is I might just say, I'm so sorry this happened for you. How can we make this right? People just want to feel heard and they want to feel validated. And so even if we've not actually done anything wrong, we still exercise a lot of humility and can do that without accepting responsibility. So it's not that we're always the problem or things are always our fault, but even in situations when they're not, we can take their kind of frustration and turn it and make it a positive experience for them just by exercising a little bit of humility, which I will tell you can be very difficult sometimes, but I've never seen it not work out. We are huge on follow through. So we do what we say we're going to do, and we really believe in under promising and over delivering. I kind of get stuck in the over promising sector because I am an entrepreneur and I just believe that everything is possible and I can do everything that you guys want me to do. And that's not really fair to my team because then they get stuck holding the bag if we can't follow through on those things. So we really exercise like, let's just under promise. Let's say that we can do the bare minimum, frankly. And then when we can wow them and over deliver, they feel like we've done something that they didn't expect us to do. Follow through is really about managing expectations. These slides are also, my presentation is going to be super fast, but these slides are available if you guys want them after the presentation. And then we just really believe that being flexible is important to probably always customer service scenarios. Sometimes our clients don't know what they want, and so we try really hard to create an environment that's flexible for them. When we are flexible for them, it creates instant rapport and trust. And then what we find is that they give us more than they initially expected to give us, because now they've trusted us with a very little. We've been flexible with that very little scenario. And so they think, oh, I think it's okay to kind of trust you with more and give you more things. And then the last thing that we practice daily, and I do this just personally in my own life, but then for my business especially, is we try really hard to do the unexpected. So for us, when we go on a client consultation, we typically meet with our clients face-to-face when they've expressed an interest. We always ask them what their favorite drink at Starbucks is. Sometimes they say, oh, I don't drink coffee, and I'll usually respond with, well, what's your favorite afternoon treat? And most people, I'd say 95% of people have an answer for that, whether it's a Diet Dr. Pepper or a drink from Sonic or an iced tea or a coffee. And we bring that to them before they can do anything for us. So we're just trying to display an example of, we really care about you, and whether or not you decide to use us as a business, we care about you as a person and as an individual, and we want to bring you this one little reprieve from a crazy, chaotic life, just so that you can understand somebody out there cares about you. We do a ton of handwritten cards for our clients, and sometimes when somebody reaches out to me and says, hey, I'm interested in using your service, or hey, I've heard about you and I think that this is something we may use in the future, I'll shoot them a handwritten card to just say, thank you for thinking about us. There are lots of opportunities to use different kinds of services, and I always truly feel honored if somebody says, I have this problem and I think you're the solution. Whether or not we actually become the solution is irrelevant for me. I still feel honored that they've raised their hand and said, I'm interested. So we always send a handwritten card. And then also when a client leaves our service and is no longer using us for whatever reason, and usually it's not a bad reason, we hope, but even if it's like, hey, I just can't financially justify this expense right now, we had a lot of that with the coronavirus, we still send a card and say, thank you so much for trusting us for the last 6 months, year, 2 years, whatever it was. We're here for you when you are ready to return. We also send them anniversary gifts. So we have an anniversary schedule with all of our clients that follow the wedding anniversary standards. So I think I'm going to be really bad at this, but I think like the first year is paper. I think the second year is cotton. I think that's right. Third year, maybe leather. We have anniversary gifts that coordinate with that. And it has nothing to do with our business. It does not have our logo on it. It doesn't have our name on it. It's just a gift to them saying, thank you for being a client and trusting us for all these years. We also keep copious notes on our clients' personal information so that anytime we're in a situation where we're just having a casual conversation with them, we can refer back to things that we know about them. So we like to know their children's names. We like to know anniversary dates. We like to know their favorite coffee drinks, which we get if they give that to us in the beginning. And then we can refer back to that. And really at the end of the day, all we're doing with all of these things is trying really hard to make our clients feel like they're very special. I think that just typically people don't feel special. They're always searching for things to fill that void. And we want to be one of those things that say, hey, you don't have to do anything for us. We just want to come in and make you feel special. So that's it.
I don't know if you noticed, but I was taking notes. That's good stuff. Thank you very much.
No, I was sharing my screen. I couldn't see.
Oh, well, I was taking notes. I'm ready for the quiz. Thank you, Valerie. Next up, we have Kyle. If you'll give us just a snippet of what you're about, and then the floor is yours.
Sure. Thank you, Valerie. Well done. That was great. I, too, was taking notes. And hopefully I can echo some of the same things. I think that we all have a lot more in common than we realize. So Kyle Young, I am the VP of Marketing of Century Martial Arts, which is a family-run and started business. And then Laura and I, my wife, we own European Wax Center, which is body waxing service. So we're the owner, operator, entrepreneurs there. And so yeah, the COVID piece has been a challenge for us on both sides. And I put together some slides for you guys as well today that I will share. And hopefully I'm going to try to give you guys kind of my take on this, which is, I guess, apparently I full screen and share don't work at the same time. But
Valerie, you did great.
Yeah, you did. So kind of the way I'll describe the COVID event for us is like this forced inversion. And kind of the question that I ask myself is like, what are you willing to do to survive? If you want to make money or still want to retain that revenue, you know, what end of the earth would you be willing to go to, you know, without sacrificing your morals and integrity and everything else, but just what kind of things would you go out on a limb to do to provide value or be where customers are when they need you? So I'm going to kind of talk through some of our stuff, which I think was just really going back to basics, and kind of some of it's predicated on this unprecedented changes in consumer behavior. I think about this as, you know, everything we're experiencing right now is consumer behavior changing in warp speed. We've seen like 100 years of change of the normal rate of change. What we've experienced in 60 days normally happens in like 50 to 100 years. And I know that there's a lot of different models on that, but you know, we're experiencing change at a breakneck pace right now. And so we're seeing things like commute times, you know, down to zero. People are shelter in place. Zoom and Microsoft Teams, people are collaborating different. On April 9th, there were 2.7 billion meeting minutes in one day, which was a 200% increase from just, you know, 3 weeks prior. People are in their homes. So the home office is the new office. And people are wearing new hats. I'll tell you, at the Wax Center, you know, and even at Century. So our martial arts business, we've had a portion of our business has gone from, you know, kind of the bread and butter of what we do is B2B, supporting school owners nationwide. And that business has seen about an 85% decrease. And that's kind of the inversion I'm talking about, is that was our bread and butter, and now retail has taken that on. Well, so at the same time where we're seeing some booms in certain portions of our business, we're seeing our employees experience a new stress. And so managers and directors, coworkers are, you know, they're asked to be a spouse, a parent, a teacher, and a therapist, which is adding just this interesting level of complexity to the workplace and their home life. And when the home office is the new office, you know, there's a weird line that's not actually being crossed there of like, when am I at work? When am I at home? When am I a mom? When am I a teacher? When am I a therapist? So that's changing kind of people's mindsets. And I don't know if people realize that, but they're undergoing this strange stress right now, and it's influencing their behavior. And of course, routines are completely shaken up. Workouts online, shopping online or not shopping, grocery shopping. I mean, we've seen a dramatic increase in, you know, grocery deliveries, or, you know, pull up and get it delivered to your car. So the new normal is happening very, very quickly here. Travel is down to zero or near zero, and dining, obviously, that dynamic has quickly changed too. So, as I mentioned, we've kind of gotten back to basics. And so the central question that we're talking about in both of our businesses is, you know, what job is your customer hiring your product or service to do? And likely it may be different today than it was 60 days ago. I'll give you kind of a funny example. We had a 74-year-old woman come in, like in tears, to the Wax Center. She hadn't seen anyone in like 5 weeks, and she was just so happy to see someone. And it was heartbreaking. I'm getting this secondhand, but so Laura's saying, you know, it's just heartbreaking. She's just seeking human connection. I think that's something that Valerie was talking about. You know, people are seeking connection and empathy. And it kind of ends funny, but she was so happy to see us. She came on the wrong day. We actually couldn't fit her in that day. And her closing remark was, it'll just be so great to get my Brazilian. Things that you didn't think you'd hear out of a 74-year-old's mouth. But again, what they're seeking today may be very different than it was, even if it was the same service. What value they derive out of it may be different. And their interaction with you as a company will be very important. So again, back to this basics thing, I like to talk about a story that I heard a few years ago, and this changed the way that I market and the way that we tell stories. But, you know, customers ultimately want transformation. They don't want to be sold, but how can we sell a transformation? And as you go down this 4 levels, this before and after chart, you have tremendous more value in your story. So, you know, I can either have the pen or not have the pen. So it's a basic want need conundrum, right? Or when I have this pen, does it make me feel different? I feel cheap when I have a Bic round stick, but if I have my floating pen, I feel a little bit more important. You know, how could your product or service change someone's average day? My favorite analogy on this is, you know, well, I'll just go from the top to bottom with like a lawn mowing service. If I'm trying to market my lawn mowing service and I go and talk features and benefits of how green your grass is going to be and how tall it's going to be, not many people are that interested in the strain of grass I'm growing, how tall it is and how green it is. But if I can talk about how you'll feel if you didn't have to mow your yard, or how I can change your average Saturday to not smelling like gasoline at 9 a.m. when you've just mowed your yard and you could have been golfing or out with the kids at the lake, then we can start changing the conversation. And if at the end of the day, my status, either personal or outwardly, if I start to feel like the landowner instead of the land worker, the value of your service is tremendously higher. So I went from just having short grass to being kind of the king of my domain. And so those are two totally different separate conversations. And if you can think about, how your product or service can provide this transformation, change their average day and their status, I think you may unlock some hidden potential there. And so, you can go through all those exercises of, how you can do this status or average day, but if you can't craft it all into a concise story, and I'll share these slides, but, you've got a character who is them, your customer has to be the protagonist of your story, right? So you have a character who has a problem, who meets a guide, and that's you. You, as their guide, your trusted advisor, you got to give them a plan who calls them to action that results in some kind of success or failure. So, the best storytellers sell the best too. And so that's one of the things that I think this mantra that you came up with, Valerie, I think that was really cool because that gives this life and human element to your company. And I think that that's one of the really important things as we think about marketing and customer need right now is how can we actually connect with them personally? So again, going back to kind of some of my 101 things and things that we've looked at is, on the fitness side of things, we're seeing a lot of people wanting train at home stuff. So this is a quick analysis that we do is, does my website pass the grunt test? What do I sell? How can it make my life better? And what do I need to do to get it? If the people get to your website and they can't sort that out within 30 seconds, you've got something wrong, right? And then people trust reviews these days. I hate Yelp. Sorry, I had to make a dig at them here, but Google, Yelp, Amazon, like, what are the customer reviews around your product? What are the other people saying? People are most likely to trust. They trust reviews now more than ever. And so managing your reputation online is incredibly important, and something, again, blocking and tackling basic stuff that we've done during the COVID piece is like making sure that we're talking to customers and getting and listening to their feedback. So then thoughts that kind of guide my marketing. Again, I like to say or believe that our companies are defined by the customers we serve and not the products we sell. So this customer-centric idea is what guides us. It's part of our culture. It's why we do martial arts at Century Martial Arts. It's why our waxers wax each other for free. It's just, you got to be living the culture. And so that we're not so focused on waxing or the bow staff that we sell, but by the end, it's that transformation. It's that personal transformation. So, at the Wax Center, it's walk in, strut out is kind of our mantra. And then at Century Martial Arts, it's we exist to inspire and we believe that martial arts changes people's lives. It's not about the black belt, right? It's not the destination, but it's about that journey. And so that's how we try to kind of define who we are, is by the customers we serve. And then one of my favorites right now is companies who go where customers are, even when it's not convenient, will win. The gyms, the schools that shut down right now, they need money. They're seeing all kinds of subscription revenue going, down the drain, or people canceling and whatever. So we set up an ad hoc deal where we set up a new drop shipping deal with promo codes for our customers, where if they promote our product, we ship directly to their customer and we give them a 20% commission. So their customers get a discount, they're the good guy, and then we cut the deal back to the commission back to the school owners as a means to keep them afloat. So really being personally invested in their customer's success and the success of their story, I think will earn you a lot of goodwill. But also, I feel like it's kind of the right thing to do. It's a small way that we could help. But believe me, it's really, really inconvenient to go in and process thousands of commission checks at the end of the month. But it's the right thing to do. It's inconvenient, but it's made a lot of people's days. And then I go back to the most human companies win. Our most successful email every year is really, I call it the 9-word email. We put on a trade show every year, and we need to sell tickets to break even at that event. And so we send out an email that says, "Will I see you at the Martial Arts Super Show this year? Let me know." And so that probably violates the 9 words, but you get the gist. And we actually have the reply to be, our VPs, our sales managers, our president. They are personally responsible for responding to those emails. We just break the list up. And that is the most opened and most responded to email of the year. And it results in thousands of dollars in ticket sales when people realize that there's someone on the other side and someone that cares. And all of this, I just came across this the other day. We control our mind, how we think and choose our responses, which then guides our resulting behaviors. And I really love this last part. It's just our challenge and the gift before us is that we're looking at a blank canvas for what lies ahead. So I really think that, going back to, not defining yourself by the products or services you sell, but based on the customers you serve will serve you the best in the end. We always try to do the right thing. And again, kind of go back to that empathy, connection, and humility to drive the best results. That's about it.
Awesome. Thank you, Kyle. I didn't take as many notes, but you got me thinking a lot more. And I do think I have heard Pish say, "I'm sorry I couldn't get my Brazilian today." I think I have heard him say that.
I think I was saying that yesterday before my lunch meeting.
Yes.
He says it every day. I hear it every day.
Pretty much every day. I was thinking about Brazilian rum, but I don't know what you guys are talking about.
It was Taco Tuesday.
Oh.
Too soon.
Oh, nice. All right. So let's bring up Dima Ramadan and give us a quick hit on you, and then the floor is yours.
All right. Hello, everyone. Dima Ramadan, DBG Construction's my primary business. I also do real estate and development and have a commercial brokerage called Pegasus Retail. So I'll be talking to you today primarily from the construction and real estate side. I apologize, I did not have a PowerPoint, so kudos to Val and Kyle. You guys did an awesome job. I'll just kind of go through some of my notes and experiences that we're going through. For us, our product typically is our clients' largest investment. So when they're building a new building or they're remodeling their office, typically their office costs more than their home. And it's a big deal to them. So in this environment going into it, we've been an essential business. We've stayed open. We've come to work every day. We've just had to take extra precautions on our job sites and have to even run coupled shifts if need be to ensure that people are staying away and obeying the COVID standard there. So for us, the clients that we had going into COVID were national clients, and those kind of ran the gamut. For us, we were supporting their managers on the ground here and just assuring them that their project, it will get done, because they were both essential businesses. One was a waste services and one was is a trucking company. So they were needing their facilities to be up and running. So just keeping in touch with those existing clients, assuring them that their product is going to get delivered in a timely fashion, and asking them what we can do to help them get through their grievances or stresses or issues that they may be having. And Kyle and Val did a really great job of this, and just listening to your client more times than not. And during this, the stress level is so high they just wanted to be heard. I spent yesterday down in Fort Worth seeing some clients and just going and visiting them at their home and talking through the issues that they're having. So our next set of projects that are coming up, we went from the total opposite of a national brand to 5 small businesses. And so that's been a detriment because those are our 5 ground up projects that we're starting up in June. And managing those expectations. During this time, I've pulled out this book that one of my clients gave me, actually. I don't have the cover on it, but it's called What Clients Love by Harry Beckwith. And this has been a really awesome book. And so I was kind of going through that in my spare time during all of this. And it talks about the placebo effect. And what was interesting is with my clients, they're the upcoming ones, they're doctors, are in the medical field, and they're just scared about what's going on. One was a development project. The gentleman's an engineer at Boeing, and he is building this building to rent it and lease it out. So what we've done for them is just assured them that we will go at their pace. So we don't have to speed this up and get their permit fast if they need to slow it down. And what we've been encouraging them to do, knowing that the permit offices are delaying and taking longer to get permits out, we're helping them finish up. A lot of these projects are all design build, so the architecture and design is under our hat. We're helping them finish that out and just getting their permit in, and then letting them know. We have one client, they're both doctors and in the same practice together, and they're nervous because they've taken a big hit, and basically their savings that they were going to spend to put down on the loan to start their building, it was potentially going to be used to make it through this so they could carry their payroll. And so we just listened to them share our experiences. So kind of carry that EOA and sharing our experience with them of what we're going through, how we help them. We kind of held their hand through the PPP and helped them answer questions if they needed, and really just listen to them. Some of these clients were actually just buying the land and building the building and doing one-time close for them, kind of like a single family home. So we've kind of pivoted there and taken on more of a developer role with these clients to help them get through this. We have one client that during all of the COVID, they ended up finding a piece of land which was 3 times their budget, but they fell in love with it and now it needs to be developed. So we are buying the land jointly with them, dividing it up into 3 lots and helping them get their dream office, and then selling off, building and selling off the other 2 lots for them. So we've just learned to kind of pivot and take a different revenue stream. The placebo effect is interesting because my family being doctors, I kind of have expressed what my brother and my sisters are going through, my dad and his practice with these doctors, and they're just panicking and they don't know what to do. Their current office is 1,600 square feet. Their new office is 4,800 square feet. And the reality is in COVID, they would be better off with their larger office since they would have 6 exam rooms. And so they could keep patients in their car. The waiting room is larger now. And the way, ironically, the way they're set up, a patient could come in through one door, go and get their exam, and on their way out pay, and then leave through a different door. So that way they're not being exposed to that waiting room a second time, kind of a thing. And so one patient comes in, they come in one door, they go out another door. And for the most part, most of our clients, their rent payments are higher than what it is to own. This client was different. She said, my rent payment is going to be 3 times as much as what it is for me to own. And we've just kind of helped them work through the math and what's going to help them in that scenario. For them, they have decided to just get their permit and hold on their land for a little bit, and we're just waiting it out with them. We're reaching out and just calling clients, asking if they need anything. So my client in Texas, actually, when I went to go visit them yesterday, they, with their loan, they had, I think, 3 or 4 rental properties down as collateral, and the bank came back and said, no, we can't accept that anymore, and we want cash. And so this couple, one of the gentlemen had he had envisioned that by 40, he was going to have no debt and he was paying everything off. And now he was being asked to refi on one of his rental properties just to have cash. And so I sat down and listened to him and talked him through my own experience with instead of paying off a home, to use that and invest it, and how you're going to make more money than that loan of 3%, which in turn saves him more money versus the 5.75% he's going to get on this building. So he is getting a loan elsewhere, but that 3% is going to save him a lot of money down the road. And him just hearing that from me, someone, just a trusted source, not the bank, he was like, oh, okay. He kind of wrapped his brain around it and it made him feel better. And he gave the green light, and now they're calling today to get that home loan on their property so that they can put cash down and get their wedding chapel going, which has been his wife's dream, to have a wedding chapel going. So really for us, it was just slowing down the process for clients and not rushing them through it, and letting them have time to think it over and slow it down, and calling and checking on them. We set up weekly meetings. So we have weekly, bi-weekly meetings with our construction clients, but our pre-construction clients, we would typically meet with them every 2 to 4 weeks, depending on where we're in design. And we are meeting with them weekly. We are showing them what we're doing every week. We're just talking to them, checking in, making sure they're doing okay, and asking them if there's anything that we can do for them during this period. It wasn't as beautiful and insightful, I think, as Kyle and Valerie, but that's just been our perspective of what's happening from our side of things.
Awesome. Thank you, Dima. So I'm going to open the floor to questions. I have some questions in the queue, but I want to make sure everybody on the call gets an opportunity to ask their questions first.
One question that came through on the chat, I think, is maybe directed to Kyle, and it's, how do you deal with negative reviews?
Actually, depending on the severity, our deal is always respond. So positive reviews, my deal with my team is 100% response rate. And so we thank the people who positively review, and then the negative reviews, depending on the severity. I can tell you a story where we had a lady and her husband come into the wax center, and this is actually probably the one review in the last year at the wax center that is not responded to. But a lady and her husband came in and did some egregious solicitation of one of my waxers. She still waxed this guy and his wife, but after the fact, she told our manager called them and said, hey, look, based on some majorly inappropriate things that have been escalating, we're no longer able to see you here. So they posted several negative reviews. That's the only one, because the lady was calling our center like 20 and 30 times a day. So it was just a next level crazy. But I guess, so always getting it, always making a response that shows that you care. But at the same time, all the positive responses to the positive reviews will get you more reviews. And so I don't worry about the one that I didn't respond to, but we always try to, at least it's the connection piece too, right? If it's bad enough, it's like, hey, we'd love to see you back, or could we offer you, something? But we do that all over the phone. It's the personal connection that shows, and we do it from a management or owner level. So I don't put that on my employees. I don't want them I want the discretion to, you know, if we got to put $100 credit on their account, great. But I think a negative review, if left, or is kind of left there, you know, is worth several thousands of dollars in lost clients. So it's the generally responding to them to show that you care, both positively and negative.
Awesome. Thank you. Emily?
Okay, so this question is, our industry has been hit so hard, even though we offer a level of quality that distinguished us in the past, customers seem to be gravitating toward a less expensive option for services. We want to be paid what we are worth, but also need customers to survive. What is your input? That can be for anyone on the panel.
Well, so let me throw this out there. Just my response on that would be: is there a potentially less service or less product offering that you can substitute? Because I think that it you know, pricing is all emotional, and buying is all emotional. So and then your brain does its thing to rationalize the emotional response. So the initial emotional response may be out of fear and I can't spend money. And then if you give them an alternative, even though it may not be what they really want, it gives them something to rationalize their brain around. So that would be my thought on that.
I mean, I still think that we have the alligator brain. And so, you know, there's kind of like you said, there's this emotional response, and what we actually crave is control. And so, kind of to echo what you're saying, by giving a couple of options, you're giving the control back, right? Isn't that kind of sales 101? Like, get the client talking, get the prospect talking. So sometimes the answer might be a question. And so, I mean, I'll tell you our personal deal at the Wax Center, we generally run an 18% off promotion. Right now we're doing 25% off. And I'm guessing we'll probably run that for 60 days instead of 30 days. So we'd rather do a few more services at a lower margin than we would, you know, the few. So because we believe, you know, if you really believe in your product or service, then you believe that every customer you serve can be an evangelist or, you know, referral for the next one. So I'm not going to say I'm not the Walmart play. I'm not the cheapest guy in town, but I'm going to do the best value service, and you're going to tell all your friends.
So we have some customers that are uncomfortable answering the COVID screening questions we set up to keep our staff safe. What are your thoughts on handling this?
I can speak to that really quickly. So when we decided to go back into clients' homes, we sent out emails to everybody saying, these are the protocols we're following, and here are the protocols we expect you to follow. And if anybody was uncomfortable with that, we just said, hey, we totally get that. That's your choice. We are just going to make the choice to not be back in your home. And I think for us, like erring on the side of caution is probably right now the most important thing we can do for our team, because getting through this with a solid team for me personally is way more important than the clients that we're serving, if I'm really honest. Like, I want my team to come out of this strong, comfortable, ready to grow, rebuild together. And so in order to do that, I have to keep them safe. And so we just decided early on, if any of our clients weren't comfortable with kind of the protocols that we put in place, that we can wait and serve you at a later time.
That's awesome.
I can speak to that a little bit on Valerie as a client of hers. One of her teammates came and worked over the weekend. So I met her, showed her what I needed to get done. So she, at my office, so that way she just came and she worked after hours when nobody was at the office. And so that was really helpful that they were able to pivot and work with us and work after hours, right? Technically after hours, but at the normal rate, knowing that it was is for safety. If I can take a step back on the prior question, for us, what we've been doing, because it's really hard on a building, you can't really offer a discount. What we've been doing for them is helping figure out if they can expand on their building. So building a little bit smaller building, knowing that if they do need to expand in 5 to 10 years, putting precautions in place that will allow them to add on to their building when needed. And that's what we've been doing to help them save costs today and ensuring that they can still live in their building 20, 30 years and grow. The building can grow with them.
That's awesome. A follow-up question to the previous question is for Kyle again. Do you worry that running pricing low for 60 days, that the customers will expect that pricing forever?
You know, ours is we're not a membership model, but we pre-sell services. So that 25% off actually, so I guess I probably should have given that. That's a little bit of, there's a caveat to this 25% off. That's not 25% off just your one service today. That's 25% off for a commitment of 12 services. So should have qualified that. So we're taking a little more cash now in exchange for the discount. So yeah, if you want to pay a year in advance or 12 services in advance, we're happy to advance you that discount. If you want to do, we also offer buy 6 get 1. So we tailor things for their budget, but right now the best value deal is buy 9 get 3. There's your 25. But then they've made a longer term commitment, and I will live at that. About 60% of our customers are on some kind of discounted package between the buy 6 get 1 or buy 9 get 3. And some people will not re-up until, this is a very, like Christian said, the pricing piece is an emotional response. Some people will not buy another buy 9 get 3 until we run that promotion again. But weirdly enough, they will come in and pay full price until we go on sale again. Like, okay. So, that's something for the long-term commitment. Yes, of course, I'm willing to take that, and we'll meet them on the other side of that buy 9 get 3.
Awesome.
Predictably irrational.
So one of the things that you all have talked about is super critical is staying connected to your customers. When it comes to email communication, what type of rhythm would you suggest during this time that's like not inundating customers, but also is staying connected?
I'll kick it off and just say, like, it's very, I thought that our email open rates were going to decrease, and actually they've gone up. But also our sales offers have also gone way down. We have pivoted, and that's kind of one of the inversion things that I kind of talk about is people, they know what they want. But my biggest fear is that our Wavemaster freestanding bag will become they have the dreaded plight of a treadmill and become a clothing rack. So instead of sales offers on that stuff, because there's a limited quantity of them, I'm going to hold my line on price. We've developed content for them on how to use it. So instead of sales, we're giving content. And so we've actually seen like I have outsourced content for free, volunteers who want to be on my page, which has about 80,000 likes, to do a live 1 hour workout every day. I say 1 hour. If they only do a 15-minute workout, great. If they do an hour, great. But we have been leading with content, and we've seen our engagement stats, our following, and probably future sales funnel has increased, but it has taken a lot of coordination. And that goes back to doing the things that meeting the customers where they are, even when it's not convenient. It's a pain in the ass to organize that every day. But that content, I feel like, is leading to more sales.
So one question that came through while you were talking, Kyle, is what are your email open rates?
In our wholesale B2B side, we probably generally hover around 17%. And right now, I think we're north of 25. So, I mean, close to a 50% increase there. Retail, usually in the 12, 13, and we're seeing actually, depending on the day and offer, 22.
All right, so if there are no other questions and no other responses, I will conclude with letting you know that we are hosting a happy hour on this channel directly after at the top of the hour. You're welcome to stay on. Please answer the poll question so that we can make sure that you're obtaining value. And lastly, our series concludes next week with Darren Kent, I believe, and the topic is banking. So we can all bag on bankers because we've got a lot of ammunition in the last 60 days, trust me. So come loaded for bear. All right, thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Christian. Happy late birthday, buddy.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Christian.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
Guys.
There's
Yeah.
contact info if anyone needs it.
I thought this was the happy hour.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay here. Emily, I'll send you slides here in a minute too, if anyone wants them.
Okay, I'm leaving.
Bye, Valerie.
Guys. Bye.